Hello dear viewer, I have a confession to make to you today because I have begun collecting yet another Blu-ray label, which is very bad news. I have succumbed to the peer pressure of one of the labels that basically all of my friends are talking about. It is one of the labels which gets a lot of buzz these days, some people saying it is the best Blu-ray label going right now. You know by now that I'm talking about Vinegar Syndrome, the American label that focuses on restoring and preserving films that are often neglected. Much of their catalogue is films that a lot of people have never heard of, and you might say for some of them it's for good reason, but even if the film is considered trash, which for many people is now a loving term that you can give to some of these cult classics, Vinegar Syndrome always seem to give these films the highest amount of care and special features and slip covers. They present the films in the best possible light. Anyway, let's actually get on to the films, shall we? The first one that I got was Roadhouse. This is on a 4K Blu-ray. It has been restored from the original camera negative for this 4K release, and there are tons of special features on the included Blu-ray that you get in this. This film is one of those quintessential 80s films that people always talk about, and yet it is being released by Vinegar Syndrome, which is quite a big title for them, and I think it has put them on more people's radars. Now, I say that this is a big 80s film, yet it has never had even a Blu-ray release in the United Kingdom. For any of my fellow UK residents who want to start collecting some of these Vinegar Syndrome titles, I got this through Boutique Home Video, who I've talked about before. They're friends of the channel. They import a lot of 4K and Blu-ray discs from the US for sale over here, and it's a really efficient way of getting them as a consumer because they can arrive within a couple of days. You know that they're not going to arrive damaged for you, which for me is one of the main worries whenever I buy off Amazon or anywhere else. So do go and check them out if you're in the UK, because they also have Criterion discs and Kino Lorber and Shout Factory and now Vinegar Syndrome, and I believe they're going to start extending the catalogue of titles that they have available. They do still also have a multi-buy offer on as well, so do go and check them out. I'll include some links in the description of this video. Anyway, back to the film, and as I was saying, you couldn't really watch this on high quality over here for the longest time, so it made sense for me to get this disc. And I have to say the 4K was incredibly impressive. I didn't even know this film looked this good, to be honest, and it makes sense when you see that it was shot by Dean Cundey, who had shot so many great films of that sort of 80s, 90s era. So I was really blown away by how much detail was packed in there, and it's aided by the HDR grade. This film really did cement Patrick Swayze as one of the most charismatic actors to watch of that period, and it's very sad that he's no longer with us, but he has left behind quite a number of great films, including this one, and Point Break being one of my favourites as well. I totally forgot that this film had Sam Elliot and Ben Gazzara in it as well, so lots of surprises for me watching it this time round. And I really do think for that 80s movie watching experience, this for me is one of the highlights. There is a whole host of special features on the included Blu-ray. There's a making of documentary. There is a featurette remembering Patrick Swayze, which is very touching. And there is a conversation with the director, Rowdy Herrington, which is fascinating. So I had a superb time with this film, and I can't wait to watch it again, quite frankly. The second Vinegar Syndrome title that I have added to my collection after seeing it was available here from Boutique Home Video is Showgirls. This is Paul Verhoeven's 1990s Razzie-winning film, starring the one and only Elizabeth Berkley from Saved by the Bell. Famously, this supposedly ruined her career, but she made a great sacrifice because this is a real masterpiece, and I don't say that lightly. People might joke about that. If you somehow happen to have never heard about Showgirls, the story follows this young woman who ventures into the adult show business, and as she makes her way dancing on the stage, removing her clothing, she will stop at nothing to get right to the top. So it's basically all about Eve, but with nudity, and a lot of it is very extreme, very melodramatic. You wouldn't really expect anything less from Paul Verhoeven, and I think at the time this film was released, people didn't really get him. They didn't get what was going on here. He is really a satirist at heart. You know, I really think he likes to point a finger at society and human nature, really honing in on some of the weirdness that occurs between people. And frankly, his films have seen some major reappraisal since they were first released, particularly his 90s work, you know, Showgirls, Starship Troopers. These are now being seen for something other than what people saw them as when they were released. And I think this film is one of those that has been quite unfairly maligned because it became known as this terrible film. And so people didn't really have room to sort of stand up for it, because even if you liked the film at the time, you might have thought that, oh, what am I missing? Clearly it's not that good if everyone else is saying it's bad. So I'm enjoying the reappraisal that Showgirls is getting. And to see it on a 4K Blu-ray is fantastic, because it is available on a Blu-ray here in the UK, but the Blu-ray is terrible. I think the Blu-ray is 1080i, so it's interlaced. It's not a good disc from what I can remember. So to see it get the treatment from Vinegar Syndrome is just fantastic, with a whole host of special features again on the additional Blu-ray. With both Showgirls and Roadhouse, I'm a bit annoyed that I don't have those fancy limited edition box sets. But by this point, those are going for a lot of money on the secondary market, and I can't quite justify this. This was actually not my first time watching the Showgirls Vinegar Syndrome disc, because last year my good friend Sam from the Film Blogger Sam YouTube channel, go and check it out, he sent me his Showgirls disc only after he got sent the replacement, because there was a replacement disc for the original release. So I did get his first disc with one of the sound issues in it, but I wanted to have the packaging and I wanted to have the extra Blu-ray and stuff. So Showgirls on 4K Blu-ray, love it, love Paul Verhoeven, and it has me loving Vinegar Syndrome now, because I kind of want to get some more. I told a lie earlier on, because these weren't actually the first Vinegar Syndrome titles I ever got. I did actually get one disc before, and I don't think I talked about this on the channel. If I did, forgive me. But my good friend Sam, who I just spoke about, he did send me Tough Guys Don't Dance, which is the Norman Mailer directed, Ryan O'Neal, Isabella Rossellini film, which is just absolutely bizarre. And it's so odd. And for its weird nature, I have such a fond admiration for this film with the late Ryan O'Neal. And it has the really cool slipcover and some great special features on the disc. So thought I'd give a quick shout out to that, and also say that I was a complete liar when I said that those 4Ks were my first Vinegar Syndrome discs. So place your bets now. Will these be my only Vinegar Syndrome titles I ever get? Or will I pick up some more? It depends how strong-willed I am. I always look at those Vinegar Syndrome subscription boxes that people get, and they look fantastic, but I'm just not in a position to get one of them. I really wish I was. Vinegar Syndrome, if you want to slide into my DMs, you're always welcome. I'm joking, of course. Well, half joking, but I would love to get one of those subscription boxes one day. For now, I'll be happy with what I have here, because they have done fantastic work, particularly on these two 4K releases. Again, if you're in the UK and you want to get some of these Vinegar Syndrome titles, just head over to Beauty Coen Video and I'll include a link in the description of the video. If you want to stick around and get some more 4K recommendations from me, just click the video on screen right now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.